Lights, camera, action. I'm Greydon, and I'm your guide through the deep dive into the world of movies, right here on the Director's Link, exclusively on the Fanatics Network. Yes, you heard that correctly, on the Fanatics Network. Click down below, you'll see all of their socials. Even mine are down in the description below, so check us out. On my channel, Binbuster, I do a lot of movie reviews, a lot of physical media releases, I do stuff like that. So if that's your thing, check it out. I just did a football video there, 10 greatest football movies of all time. Check that out as well on my channel. Also, check out our website, thefanent.com, for all of our exciting articles where you can find all the links to all of our videos. We have amazing stuff coming for you guys, so stay tuned and do that as well. And as always, you can find us all on our social medias down below. And if you and remember to hit the subscribe button, hit that thumb that you like this video, and hit that bell notification for more videos like this. And whenever we post one, that bell notification will notify you when we post a new one. We have some amazing content coming up. Without further ado, I'm wearing one of my favorite players' jerseys, so I'm wearing my Brian Urlacher jersey, and because tonight is Tuesday night football. No, there's no real football on here tonight on Tuesday night. I'm talking a football movie. I'm talking The Little Giants. So this movie is one from my childhood, so this is kind of a nostalgia trip for me in talking about this. So without further ado, let's get into it. As you guys know, I start off with the synopsis of all this. So first of all, here's a synopsis. Ever since childhood, nerdy Danny O'Shea, played by Rick Moranis, has felt inferior to his brother Kevin, played by Ed O'Neill. A former college football star, Danny runs a gas station while Kevin coaches the local youth football team. When Kevin's team rejects Danny's daughter, Becky, played by Shauna Waldron, because she's a girl, Becky convinces her dad to start a rival team. Though the city can support only one to prove himself against his brother, Danny begins coaching his team of misfits for a playoff game. As you guys can see, because Becky O'Shea, or the Icebox as she's been called, gets turned down by her own uncle, she's a girl and she should be a cheerleader and not a football player. She goes to her dad, tells her what happens, and Danny gets pissed off, gets ticked off, and starts his own rival team, thus the Little Giants. How ironic is this that we're talking about the brutality force of the Cowboys facing off against the Giants? What does that sound like? Maybe we just had a Sunday night score 44-0, Cowboys winning 44-0 against the Giants. Maybe we just had that. I don't know. I mean, I saw that score of the game. I didn't watch it, but I saw that score. So that's probably what we're getting here. I don't know. Let's dive in for it though. First of all, we'll start off. The movie starts off with Danny and Kevin as kids. They're sitting there, and Kevin's like, "Hey, you see that water tower up there, Danny? There's one day we're going to own this town. It's going to say, welcome." I forget the name of the town, home of the O'Shea brothers. And then it zooms in on that, and then we get welcome to the town name, which I forget. I just watched this movie. You think I would remember something as simple as that? But it's home of Kevin O'Shea, and the billboard in front of town, especially Kevin O'Shea from his college days and everything. So these kids. So we see that we start getting into the football. The kids start playing and everything. We get this one guy called Zotar, or Zotan, sorry. He gets hit, and they take off his helmet, and it looks like he's bleeding. But they find out it's just a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Takes a bite out of it. And I'm like, I know people who would do something like that. But that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. And that grosses people out. We have a little nerdy kid who looked like Danny as a kid with glasses and very thin and fragile. We have kids who don't really fit in anywhere trying out for this team. They're all get cut, and especially Becky, who's a star athlete, who's more like her uncle than she is her father. Tries out, she gets cut, and her dad is like, blah 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 blah. Well, maybe he has a good reason, and he finds out that the reason is because Becky's a girl, and that doesn't sit well with him. So he goes and decides to do his own team. Becky goes in and recruits the nerdy kids, Zoltan. Hot Hands, who can't catch a ball. That's hilarious because he can't catch a ball. We have him, and we get a new kid in town. A couple new kids in town who move here. One is Junior, played by Devon Sawa. You might remember him from Now and Then, and Casper, where he played the human version of Casper. Um, he was in there. He moves into town, and we find out that his mother was a friend of Danny's as a kid, and he really liked her. So there's kind of a love thing going on there, and a love thing between Junior and Becky going on too, which kind of convolutes into this whole mess of Junior and Becky liking each other. Becky becoming a cheerleader because Junior is the star football player, so he would only date cheerleaders, not a football player. Blah 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 blah, and she ends up recruiting him for the Little Giants. He's probably by far their best player. Then someone else moves in called Spike, and tell you what, come closer. He looks like Spike from Toy Story. Like seriously, he looks like Spike from Toy Story. It's hilarious how much this guy looks like him. He does there. He says, like, "Oh, you Coach O'Shea?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm Coach O'Shea." And he never once says he's Kevin. He says he's Coach O'Shea. And so the kid comes in here. The kid doesn't feel good. His dad shows up with Kevin O'Shea. He goes, "Oh, Coach O'Shea, huh?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm Coach O'Shea. I never said I was Kevin." And Ranch just smiles. That got me right then and there. It's like, this is hilarious. So he goes on and becomes this wrecking crew with the Cowboys. So the kids are there and they're learning football. One gets hit in the head with a football as they're practicing. We have this nerdy guy who gets picked up who's makes the plays because he can't really play the game. Can't really play the game, so he makes the plays. He comes up with a lot of them, including ones that's called the Annexation of Puerto Rico. So the ball starts up here, flips to this guy. This guy runs it to this guy, and then this one runs it this way. It's a fumblerooski, in other words. If you're familiar with what fumblerooski is, that's what this is. And he comes up with this play and everything. Just a bunch of pure backyard football. And there is a scene where these kids are trying to hype themselves up for the game. This little nerdy guy that I talked about comes into one day of practice with bubble wrap all around him because his mom goes, the pads, he says, "Coach, my mom said the pads you gave me weren't enough." And so he's wrapped up everywhere and runs into a pole and kind of still hurts himself. Kind of hilarious. Um, so that happens throughout the movie. Like Hot Hands, he's told, "Hey, catch this." Junior throws a roll of toilet paper. He catches it. So he's picturing the toilet paper, the football as toilet paper from now on. And it's like boom, boom, boom. And he's be able to catch it each time because of Danny helping these kids out. We have a kid who doesn't know anything about football who wears this little cowboy outfit all the time. That sequence is like, "Do you play football? Mm. Do you like football? No. You could be on our team." That was Danny recruiting him. That was actually a pretty funny sequence as well. Um, don't know about you guys, but talking about this movie, I mean, it's nostalgia for me because I played it 4 years in high school, 6 years in college, total 6 years, which was two in college, four in high school. And I gotta say, my body right now feels it. I've never played Pee Wees. I don't know what these kids go through is true, but I do have friends who coach Pee Wees, and yeah, I've seen their practices. This stuff that they're going through, that Cowboys go through, is actually true and real. So it's one of those things that it's not necessarily the football in here. It's not necessarily blown out of proportion. The football in here is real. It's as real as it could be with kids. So, and then when the kids are coming together and they're like, we get this mirror sequence with a little Asian guy who's a little pudgy guy. He's weak. He gets tired a lot and everything. He ends up getting some eye black. And what he does with his eye black, he puts it on to begin with like this, and then all of a sudden it covers his entire face. It's like that sequence is hilarious. And the little nerdy guy who was wrapped up in bubble wrap goes, "I've come to pump you up," and it starts flexing. That seems kind of cool that they're doing this, just trying to up themselves up. And Hot Hands is practicing with his dad catching. He's not catching it. He goes, "Come on, guys, come on! I bathe you. I clip your nails. I keep you warm in the winter. Um, I wash you daily." Come on, guys, come on! He's like yelling at his hands, and he realizes that he tries to catch it once, and he uses this tar, and it works. And he claps his hands, and it goes, "Choo, choo, 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 choo," and it's like in between his hands, and it sticks. So I'll get to that in a moment because that's also an hilarious part in the movie. But they all do this, and they all reveal themselves that they're the little giants. And the parents are going wild, and he introduces them. They get their jerseys. They're ready to play. And one day during practice, this bus shows up. This is the coolest part of the movie. We get John Madden, Michael Irving, Bo Jackson, I believe, was also in here, and one other player. But they're in here practicing with the kids, telling them about intimidation, trying to be using their brains of what they have. They have brains and streets and smarts that the other team doesn't have, trying to use that against them. And John Madden, the nerdy kid, Poindexter, I'm gonna call him. They are doing plays, talks with John Madden, and John Madden gives him some advice. Those cameos are actually pretty cool in this movie. So we get there and they're ready for the big game without Becky. Like I said, she wants to date Junior, and Junior will only date the cheerleader. So she goes to see her aunt, wants to become a cheerleader, and she's cheering. But what happens is the Giants, during the game, the Giants come out. They have the banner. They run into him, and they all fall down because they can't rip through it. But so they come out. Everyone's laughing at them. They're there. They're getting their butts handed to them. Then what happens? Becky has seen enough. She throws down her pom poms, goes into the locker room, puts on a helmet and shoulder pads, and she's still wearing the skirt and the football pants. She's still wearing her cheerleading skirt. They're like, they're like, "Oh, Becky, it's good to see you back." She goes, "You could call me Icebox." And Junior's like, Junior, who's hurt, his ribs are hurting him. He goes, "Hey, Icebox, good to see you. You could call me Becky." And he smiles like that. And so he got hurt during this game. So she comes in as the quarterback. This is where annexation of Puerto Rico comes in. Yeah, they do some crazy stuff in here. Like Zoltan actually asks the people, "Oh, tell me, what did I have for lunch?" They're like, "How am I supposed to know that?" And he just sort of, "By taking a whiff of this." And he farts in the general direction. I'm like, that's smart. That's really smart. And then they do this. They run. They break. He puts Hot Hands puts tar on his hands. He goes to break it. And he's like I was showing you earlier. And then he goes like this on his chest. He's like, oh, he's there. And so as he's running, he catches a ball, and it's there, and he's knocked down. And all of a sudden, it's like the Spike says something to him, and he just goes "Ugh," like like his heart was beating, and then it stopped. So that was kind of a cool sequence of events there. So in the course of the game, the Giants come back and tie it. It's 21-21 when the Fumblerooski, the annexation of Puerto Rico, comes into play, thus making the Giants win the game. And the water tower changes from home of the great Kevin O'Shea to the great O'Shea brothers. And there was even a bet that Danny's gas station and Kevin's car dealership were on the line. And Danny's like, "Hey, there's a job for you, Danny O'Shea Chevrolet," type of thing. But Danny's not a jerk like Kevin is, and so he treats him a little better even after this. They get along. I mean, growing up, it was a little bit of a sibling rivalry. Trust me, with siblings, you get that. But as adults, they were just like their kids. They like they were as kids. But throughout the course of this movie, Becky and Junior start dating. Junior's mom and Becky's dad, Danny, starts. They start dating too. So we know them. Mom and him get together. We don't know about the other two. But you guys see, that's my brief little thoughts of scenes I loved in this movie. There's a lot more hilarious things in here. Check it out. As children, the O'Shea brothers were night and day. One a little geeky little wimp, and the other a popular football player. As adults, the trend continued, and the football player was now a popular coach, Kevin, with a successful car dealership. But when the wimp's daughter gets rejected from her uncle's football team, the brothers must face off wimp versus jocks. It's a true underdog story, which this movie is. It's a story about the underdogs. If whatever you set your mind to, you will see it through, and it will come to fruition. That's what this is telling you. It's a good, heartwarming, heartfelt story. Comedy, hilariousness. Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill are amazing in this movie as brothers that they play off of. Ed O'Neill plays that not necessarily the arrogant, egotistical jock very well, but the jerk. He plays a jerk type of character very well. Married with Children, check him out there. And Rick Moranis plays the nerdy guy very well. Check out Ghostbusters if you don't believe me. Louis Tully, check that out. You don't believe me there. But you see, they both play these characters to a T. They're perfect in these roles. And they're also believable as brothers, so that's a good thing. Sometimes when you get actors together, sometimes they're not believable in their roles, but sometimes they are. You never know, so you don't know which that you don't believe that they're brothers. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what you're trying to get at. There's nothing really surprising about this film. I won't give it away by telling you the plot, but I will say it's a team of wimps versus a team of quality players. You can probably guess how this works because all underdog sports movies basically work the same way. And you'll get the stereotypes here. Tomboy who struggles who struggles with the popular guy at school and wants to impress him and trying to find herself as a woman on the verge of womanhood, trying to find herself on that. A fat kid who must be eating and passing gas in every scene, a weakling with an overprotective mother, and you can take away points for creativity, but you have to grant them that they've covered all the bases on this one. So we've come down to that time where I decide if this movie's too sweet or too sour to either watch or don't even bother, or if it's just or if it's just whelming, which means it's mid, and we'll do that. So without further ado, let's see if it's too sweet or this movie, Little Giants. If you guys haven't checked it out, find it online. I know you can find it on YouTube. You might have to pay a little bit on Amazon Prime for it, but it's a hard movie to find. If you happen to own it on DVD, watch it. You're going to have a good time. Why? Because it's just too sweet. It can't be beat. Let's put them up, guys. It's just too sweet. Hit it on the screen. Boom. There we go. It's just too sweet. It can't be beat. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and diving into the deep cut with me. As always, our Fanatics socials are down below. Check those all out. And especially right here on YouTube, where we have content for you guys daily. We have football content. It's football season, so we have fantasy football content. We have football content. We have wrestling content. We have movie content, entertainment content from yours truly as well. Check out our website, The Fan ENT. That's THEFANENT.com. Check that out for great articles by our writing crew, as well as yours truly. I got a couple things on there. Just be excited for what's to come here on the Fanatics Network. I know I am. Being a part of this network, I know I'm excited for what's to come. You guys should be too. And as always, till next time, remember there's more to movies than what we see on screen. I'm Greydon, the Bin Buster, and I'll be your guide through the films and their history right here on the Director's Cut. I'll see you guys here next week. And by the way, this is the last time you guys are going to see this screen. The way this looks, this whole thing, I'm going to be here live for you guys next week. This was an upload. I'm going to be here live with you guys next week. So tune in for a brand new look of the Director's Cut right here on the Fanatics Network. Until then, I'm going to see you guys. Bye.